Good evening and welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of June 5th, 2018. We will salute the flag first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have an approval of the agenda?
Make a motion we approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor? And approval of the minutes of the May 29th meeting?
Make a motion we approve the minutes of May 29th.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Department head committee chair updates. Do we have any out there? No, not today. Old business, Whitney Baker with the Mousom Lake Watershed.
So per your request, I sent an email after this meeting, after last week's meeting, to the road commissioners, Ms. Hart, and I think I put you guys in there, about scheduling a meeting, and you wanted to follow up after a week. As far as I know, there hasn't been any response to the email, so I'm not sure what steps you want to take next.
So the idea here was to speak with the road commissioners to see if there were any roads on their future list to be worked on that also were roads that could be fall under this grant.
Right.
And so without knowing that information, because we didn't want to commit any money from the town through the grant, we were hoping that some of the roads were already going to be worked on and money would be spent anyhow. So
When we sent them the information, I don't know if that means that, you know, they didn't have any, or maybe they contacted her directly, but at this point, nothing else to add. So am I leaving it on old business, or what's going on with it?
She's kind of under a timeline too for this, isn't she? Doesn't have to be done by sometime.
June, I thought it was June 30th.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was.
Or no, September. Maybe it was September.
I think it's
I'd have to
June.
look, but
Maybe we could try to.
it seems like an opportunity not to pass up. Cindy, did you have something?
I spoke to her, and we said we would get together after the election. She had spoken to the road commissioners, and she didn't believe it was on their list of projects for this year. I don't know whether she's going to talk to them again, or, I mean, we'd certainly be welcome to the road committee to having a meeting and work it out with her. I think it's a good program.
So if you're in communication with her, we'll take it off our list until you ask us to put it back on?
Sure, if you want
Does
to
that
do that,
sound
yeah.
So after the election,
We're
you're gonna...
tentatively scheduled for a meeting on the 26th.
Okay.
So as a road committee.
June?
Yeah,
Of June. What times, Cindy?
6 o'clock.
Okay. I'll add it.
And we'll see what happens. I figured everybody was busy right now with the election, and then after that, then we'd have a better idea.
Okay, so then she's on, the time frame isn't June 30th then for her, so she's got a little bit of time.
She didn't say that, so
Okay.
I assumed we
Oh,
were
good.
okay.
Okay, thank you. So will we move that until we hear from the road committee?
Yes, ma'am.
Cemetery, Hobbs Farm.
The one and only Robin Ham has agreed, thank you very much, to step up and do just the minimal maintenance. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, but he's going to just go in and do what he can to help preserve the cemetery some and maintain that veteran's grave, and donate his time and effort for that. So we applaud you for that,
Thank you, Robin.
stepping up and
Thanks,
doing
Robin.
that. So
Thank you.
I did pass it on to Three Rivers as well, and they're just as gracious.
Thank you. Atlantic Broadband Agreement.
So, remember the last we left off, we had sent Atlanta Broadband the attorney's changes. This is a summary, and you'll want to take some time to look over it, but basically, if you flip through it, you can see where the highlighted sections, he wrote down all of his, what he originally, remember when he had the conference call with you guys and he went through every change? So
Yeah.
if he put accepted on it, that means that Atlantic Broadband accepted it. A couple of them, so if you look at the second one, Atlantic Broadband had accepted our change, except that they wanted the density requirement to change to 10 full homes. He thinks that's reasonable. So most of them were accepted, if you skim through them. He had a concern with the 9.12B that he thought was important for the town, and he'd like to be able to go back and communicate with them more. And there was one more on the back page that he wants to be able to try to renegotiate. But if you want to review that and maybe send me an email, let me know if you support his, I mean, you supported his original changes to Atlantic Broadband.
Yeah.
He's basically met them in the middle by,
Okay.
by accepting some of them, saying that their requests are acceptable, but there's two he's not willing to negotiate on,
Yeah.
because he doesn't think it's in the best interest of the town of Acton, and he specifies which ones those are. So I'll wait for your approval, and then we'll send it back to him, and he essentially will track down Atlantic Broadband and say, you know, we need to renegotiate these couple of two sections.
Okay,
All right.
I will look at that.
Thank you.
Is there a deadline for this agreement?
No, it's, I mean, it's a 10-year agreement, so I mean.
Okay.
And this is just for the channel, it's not for MetroCast, it's not for your cable service.
Okay.
They're not really-
Zoning ordinance.
This is just old, this comes from Mrs. McManus, the conversation that we had, that you were gonna let her draft some questions. I know that we knew she was gonna be out of town this week, so after the election, it'll be back on there. I did get, I would say probably 6 to 8 calls from different people that aren't generally involved in town, that must have seen the clips or had gotten wind of it one way or the other, and really wanted to make sure that we publicized when this open poll would be out, because they were not in favor of any type of restrictions on, you know, the board stepping in or changing the zoning to regulate what they could do with their property. So I told them I'd pass it along, and we will advertise when that poll comes out.
Okay. Agenda.
So last week, we talked about adding the agenda to the website and trying to have them on there by Friday. It took the IT guy a few days to do that, so it'll start for the next meeting. But if you go under Board of Selectmen on the website now, there's a link that says upcoming agenda, and we'll have everything on there, try to have it by noontime on Friday. It's not something that's going to be archived, so once the meeting changes, then, I mean, that document's not going to stay on there, it'll change weekly. So, but at
Okay.
least give you as much of a heads up by noontime on Friday what the board has coming up the following Tuesday.
Thank you.
New business appointments.
Pile. Yeah, it's gone,
A pile of appointments that,
that I left in the office.
what? Oh, you did? Oh, that's okay.
Maybe you can skip and talk about fireworks while I grab.
All right, I will, just wanted to remind people with it being fireworks season coming up, and we have, there's a, sorry, the fire marshal's office from, what is MDPS? Main Department, PS something. Oh, anyhow, general guide to consumer firework use. I won't read the entire piece, but I wanted to read the important pieces for the upcoming holiday. In your community if your community has no ordinances restricting or prohibiting the use of consumer fireworks, which we do not, Acton does not, then Maine Public Law, Chapter 416, provides the following applicable guidelines for using these products. It talks about section numbers. A, consumer fireworks may be used between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 p.m., except on the following dates. They may be used between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12:30 a.m. of the following day. Those days being July 4th, December 31st, and the weekends immediately before and after July 4th and December 31st. And there's a couple of the numbers with descriptions if anybody's interested in knowing what types of fireworks and how old you have to be. Maybe we can have this on the website, or, you know, call for a copy or whatnot. Well, can we put it on the website?
Sure.
Okay.
You want that document that you have there?
Yes, it'll be on the website.
Yeah, we're starting to get calls on that as well. Unfortunately, the town, unless town decides to enforce some type of ordinance, I mean, you fall back to state statutes, so.
We've had a couple people ask for an ordinance, but
Yeah, and we had talked about this back when this very first came out about 4 years ago, I think it was, 5 years ago. And it was kind of determined at that time with a part-time deputy, it would be another unenforceable ordinance. So that's kind of why we didn't move forward with it, so.
And I'm not sure you had enough, We had conversations, I recall, week after week, there wasn't enough people that,
Nope.
that wanted to stop it, but.
Yep.
Do you have that original? Can I just have that?
Yep.
Ed's got one.
Oh, you wrote on it?
After.
I don't know if I have one, so I just want to make sure I get that original in there.
Fireworks are nice, but just remember, not everybody enjoys them, especially families with young children and dogs that have high anxiety over those sounds, but be safe and respectable or courteous or whatnot. All right, back to appointments.
Okay, so I've got everything together for the election next Tuesday, so I'm just going to go over the names with you that I need the appointments signed for. If you're not aware, because this is a primary election, both parties are required to submit to the clerk's office a list of names of people that they nominate to work as election and ballot clerks. One of the parties this year did that and gave me a list, and I used everybody on that list. One of the parties did not submit any names at all, so it falls under the clerk just to find them. For the most part, we use the same people. We have training. We use the same people. They change out a little bit. All of my ballot clerks are asked if they have any direct interest in any of the questions, if they're related to any candidates. So we go through all of the questions, as best we can. So the moderator will be elected that morning, but deputy moderator, I have Mr. Patrick Demers working the morning shift and Virginia Shea working the afternoon shift. Check-in table. Required to have a Republican and Democrat together, so I have Marita Lowell and Nancy Ruma. Overseeing the ballot box, Jeanette Burse and Joyce Bakshi. Check-in table in the afternoon is Estelle Gore and Mary Yetten. Overseeing the ballot box in the afternoon is Don Van Syndrome and Walter Scott. And then ballot clerks, we need some clerks to hand count the town ballot, because remember, with the ranked choice, we're going to have to hand count ballots. So my two Democrats are Mr. Bill Lotz and Miss Yoli Gallagher, and then Elias and Jane Thomason will serve as the Republicans. I also have one town table that I'll have a lady working at to help register in parties and stuff, because remember, if you're unenrolled, you can register in a party on that day. So those are all my appointments, and then per your instruction, I made the other ones I'll let you talk about. Are you okay with those names, Liz? Nothing
Yes.
jumps out of any
Nothing
name?
jumps out.
I've asked everybody, everything?
So these are the voting. So there's a couple of positions in the town that we feel are important to appoint to keep the town running. These appointments run up at the end of the month. However, with no meeting on the 12th and I'm gone at the end of the month, I feel it's important to get these appointments done sooner than later. And regardless of how the elections go on the 12th, these appointments would happen either way.
This is something we typically have done every year, so.
So we have Ken Paul for the code enforcement officer, local plumbing inspector, Wayne Ham, animal control officer, Michelle Rumney, treasurer, Jennifer Rue, town clerk, tax collector. And all of these are 3-year terms.
No.
Oh, no, these two aren't. So treasurer, town clerk, tax collector are 3-year terms. Animal control officer is a 1-year term, and Ken Paul as well is a 1-year term.
And that's based on warrant articles, previous warrant articles. The voters decide how many years the appointments are for. So if you're wondering why the clerk and the treasurer are 3 years, back in, say, 08, 09-ish, it was on a warrant article to increase the appointments from 1 year to 3 years. So that's why those are different. The selectmen can choose to increase the other ones by putting it on a warrant article at any time if they wanted.
So let's do the 2 1-years together. We have a motion?
Make a motion, we appoint Wayne Ham, animal control officer, and Kenneth Paul, code enforcement officer, local plumbing inspector.
I'll second that.
Until June 30th, 2019. I know, I kept looking at that. Second?
I'll second that.
If no further discussion, all approved.
Has code enforcement always been one year?
As far as I've known.
do the 3-year.
Make a motion, we appoint Jennifer Rue, Town Clerk, Tax Collector, and Michelle Rumney, Treasurer, for a 3-year term until June 30th, 2021.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
So the only other, and I don't want to use this word lightly, but essential personnel, the fire chief, his term is already good until 19 because he was staggered when he first started. So all of the deputy animal controls and planning board and all of the ones that could wait a little longer, when do you want those? Do you want to wait and put them on like the first meeting in July? I think that other than planning board, let me think. Oh, no, you don't have a meeting on July 3rd. That's the other reason. So the idea behind that is so just in case something happens in June, that your essential personnel can still run if those appointments were happen to run out. But so July 3rd, you don't have a meeting. Planning board meets on the 5th. So I guess I need to look and see whose terms expire, see if they're interested in being reappointed, and seeing if the board. So we might need to sneak in some planning board appointments.
Okay.
Without you here, Elise.
Okay.
Let me see who's expiring. Any zoning board, I think all of the other ones can wait until a regular meeting in July.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a list of the people and.
Yeah, I'd like to do the deputy animal control too, in case something ever
Okay.
happens. And deputy CEO, but I'll make your list for the 19th.
Okay. So, let's see. These are the election clerks.
Oh, yes.
Those are the 2 wardens. Election ballot clerk.
There should be one warden, one deputy warden, and the rest election clerks.
Okay, so this is a long list of names.
You want to do these two first?
Go
and then
go
do the
ahead and do
others?
those 2 first.
Okay.
And then
Make a
I'll have
motion,
check with
Do you want this? They're all listed on the schedule.
That's for this one.
make a motion, we appoint Virginia Shea Warden and Patrick Demers Deputy Warden until June 30th, 2019.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Elise, can I just point out, just in case you ended up, you're on one of the lists that you were nominated by your party, the one party that we talked about did move names forward. I use all of the names from that party are on this list. There were 3 people that I just didn't have space for, so we will try to rotate in and out, but because it's a primary and because there's a lot at stake in changing parties and so forth, I did go with a more senior election clerks rather than taking new names.
Okay.
But I cleared them with both of the chairs as well.
Those all, are they considered all
Yes.
ballot clerks?
Election ballot
Well,
clerks.
yeah, this, depending on if it's Title 21A or 30A, some call them election clerks, some call them ballot, but because we have a state and a local election, they always recommend you just call them election/ballot, so there's no confusion.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to elect the election, appoint the election and ballot clerks of the many on the list?
We have Marita Lowell, Nancy Ruma, Jeanette Burst, Joyce Beckish, Estelle Gore, Mary Yeton, Donald Van Cinder, Walter Scott, William Lotz, Elias Thomas, Yoli Gallagher, and Jane Thomas.
Yeah, and that was Joyce Bakshi,
Yes, sorry.
just to be clear.
I'll second that motion. Yep.
Okay, all in favor? absentee ballots.
So just a reminder that the state law changed probably 5 years ago now, that the last day to request an absentee ballot is 3 days before the election. So for us, 3 business days. So for us, it's going to be the end of business on Thursday. So this Thursday at 8 o'clock, you can no longer request an absentee ballot unless you meet special circumstances as defined by the Secretary of State's office. It means there's a special form you have to be able to say that one of the 3 things pertain to you, and then you would be able to vote Friday, Saturday, or obviously Monday we're not open. So keep that in mind. If you want to vote absentee, it's coming down to the wire unless you meet special circumstances. And I got a call today asking about processing of absentee ballots, so can I just take a minute to go through
ahead.
how that works? So the polls obviously open at 8. People come in and vote. We have posted at all our notices what time we're going to process absentee ballots. I don't have it in front of me, but generally we'll put 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. We'll pick times during the day. So what will happen is we'll take our locked box of absentees that we've received back. We'll go to the line, we'll check them in, the name will get marked off on the voting list just like that person was there, and that ballot will go through the process just like everybody else would, and we do that during the day while while everything's open. So when the polls close at 8, we'll process the remainder of them, any that we didn't get through during the day, because if there's lines at those times that I've designated, we're certainly not going to hold up the line to process absentees. So sometimes, you may come across a time that you've allocated to process them, but you've got a line out the door, so, too bad, we wait till the next hour that we've posted. So worst case, we do them all at 8 o'clock. Remember, at 8 o'clock when the counting starts, you're all welcome. It's a public session. I encourage people to come and watch, but there's absolutely no talking. We've got a strict guideline that we follow. State law requires that we count state ballots first and turn everything over to the Secretary of State's office, so that is our priority on election night. But hopefully all goes smooth. We should be done by 10, 11 o'clock, depending on voter turnout.
Can you also go over the rules and regulations of the day of the election for those that are running?
Sure. Yep. So you've heard me say several times, once absentee balloting starts, all of the election rules go into place. 250 feet from the election door, not counting private property, there can't be anything that will influence a voter. Candidates are allowed to stand outside and meet and greet. The most that you can say is, "Hi, my name is, thanks for coming out to vote." You can't tell them what you're running for. You can't discuss the ballot. It is a simple meet and greet as they're coming in. I do, try to run a fairly tight ship. No small talk, no gathering. I mean, this is supposed to be you're in to vote and you're out. I mean, it's very, very black and white. Make sure that if you are coming for the day that you don't have anything on your car, any campaign stickers, any buttons. Buttons are only allowed if you're coming in to vote and leaving, but if you're going to stand out there, you can't have anything with your name or identification. So it's in and out. We do put people throughout the day to test. I will pick random people, little old ladies that you would never expect, will come see me afterwards. And if Johnny is asking them to vote for them out front, I assure you that I will find out. The warden will ask you to be removed from the premises, and the day will continue. So there is very little that gets by us on election day. So greet, hi and bye, and that's it. No discussion whatsoever regarding the election or anything on the ballot. I did have somebody ask if they could put a table up regarding marijuana. Sometimes when you come in, you'll see somebody gathering signatures, or maybe the Girl Scouts are selling cookies. That is allowed, and that may be something, they may be able to hand out paperwork, but again, it can't disrupt the election, and they have to make sure that the focus of conversation stays on that topic. A little bit of a stray, and we'll shut you down.
Yep. Oh, maintenance, miscellaneous.
Maintenance miscellaneous, 2 things. So out of the blue today, I got a call from a company in Bangor that thinks they might want to do our siding. He says that they work in all of the state of Maine. Brock Starbird. I haven't done much Googling on him yet, but he is driving down tomorrow from Bangor. Because he'll be here about 4 o'clock. Take a look at the building and give us a price and see if there's anything that that they can do to help us out. Says he's fully bonded, licensed, insured. Certainly, it'll come back before you. We've only got a couple of weeks left, but if we could get one side done, maybe it'd be worth it. The other thing in the budget that was for this year is the sign that the Stantons, Dasco sign, donated a few years back. We're gonna put electricity to it. So, somebody on District 1 side is gonna be digging the trench, and the, electrician will be running the wire out, and that is scheduled to start on Thursday. And that's all already appropriated out of the current budget.
Okay.
It'll be nice.
We don't have a section on here for public.
Oh,
That
Oh,
would be, it would actually be 6, because 5
I
and
missed
7.
it.
Oh.
See, I just wanna
6
see
is
if you approve
gone.
my agendas.
okay. So now we will welcome public comment from the public.
Everybody's quiet tonight.
It is a quiet night.
See, I had
Everybody's
ESP, that's why I took it off.
Never
home
used
bundled
the
under
Q word.
blankets on the couch.
Freezing.
Okay, so if there's no public comments, we'll move on to announcements and upcoming meetings. The Board of Selectmen have their, maybe a little different this month, won't it? The third week might, I guess it won't be. We'll
Nope.
still have our first, second, and third Thursday of each month, 7 to 8. The office hours. Again, if those hours don't work with you, give us a call. We'll make something work. Board of Selectmen meet on June 5th at 5, that's today. Planning Board meets at 7 on the 7th. The state and town elections are on the 12th at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., so there will be no Selectmen meeting that night. On the 16th, the annual town meeting is at 9 a.m.
We are closed, we make sure
The town hall is closed. The library is closed as well.
transfer station is,
Is closed?
no, I'm asking you. I mean, we've never closed in the idea, I mean, obviously the clerk's office has to be there, but, I mean, we've never closed before,
I
but
think
we
we
don't,
closed 1 year.
right. We closed
and
one
it
year and the
was-
staff didn't go
it was
anyways.
not a good, it was not a good experience.
So, and
so-
Mr. Mann hasn't mentioned or asked, I mean,
Yeah.
I can run it by him.
I mean, they live here. They should be able to vote.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, so you want to ask him if he wants to close, so that,
Yeah, I would ask him. But, I mean, it is short notice, but at this, I mean, they're open Sunday, right? This
Right.
is when, so it's not,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be an issue.
well, I mean, it's no different than us announcing that we're closed. I mean, we're just starting to run.
I would close them. I mean, if they want to open that back up after they're done with the meeting till 4,
Right.
they could, but I just feel like,
But if they say they're not gonna go anyways, and they wanna stay open, you're okay with that? Because I feel like I've gotten to know these guys
Okay,
pretty well. I'll let
okay.
you know what they say. I'll ask Bob. Something about not wanting to bleep, 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 go to bleep, bleep. We'll see what they say.
okay. So, I was going to add something in there. So on this Saturday, the library is having their book plant and pie sale. There's no pie contest.
What?
There wasn't enough contestants.
Oh, that's the only reason I was working this Saturday. I thought
But we
were
will have
judges.
pie for sale.
Okay. Just no test, no free taste testing?
No, I mean, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, we have lots of books and lots of plants for sale. That's 9 to 12. Okay, back to Owl's Luncheon on June 19th at noon. June 19th, the Board of Selectmen meet at 5. The 21st, the Planning Board meets at 7. And the Rec Committee meets that same night at 7. And on the 26th, the Board of Selectmen meet at 5.
And then the road committee at 6 will add.
And the Road Committee at 6 p.m. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Good night.